The world once needed heroes. Now it owned them. Massive screens wrapped around skyscrapers replayed battles on loop, slowed down, color graded, monetized. Children wore masks not to hide fear, but to copy legends. Every punch thrown by a hero was copyrighted. Every rescue had sponsors. Superheroes were no longer saviors. They were intellectual property, and intellectual property needed control. The franchise era. The Global Hero Council sat above the clouds. Literally, a floating city of glass and steel hovered over the Atlantic Ocean, built as neutral ground between nations, corporations, and superhero brands. Inside, executives sat beside gods. Lawyers sat beside warriors. At the center of the chamber stood Aegis Prime, the first hero ever to sign a global contract. Golden armor, perfect smile, zero mistakes. Heroes must remain consistent. Aegis said calmly, consistency builds trust. Trust builds profit. Profit builds peace. Some applauded. Others stayed silent. In the shadows sat Rift, a masked vigilante from a forgotten city. No movies, no toys, no sponsors, only scars. The first crack. The sky fractured at 11:47 a.m. Not metaphorically. It tore open like glass. A purple lightning wound spread across the atmosphere, stretching from Tokyo to New York. Satellites died instantly. Gravity shuddered. Time skipped. Heroes worldwide froze. This wasn't an invasion. This was a collision. From the tear, a city fell. Not a ship, not an army. A city. Buildings twisted in impossible angles, suspended between realities. Streets folded into themselves. People screamed, but their voices echoed backward. The media named it instantly. Event Zero. Enter the forgotten hero. Rift arrived first. No theme music. No drones. No press. He stood on a broken rooftop as fragments of another universe rained around him. His suit was old. His mask cracked. Inside the falling city, he felt something familiar. Neglect. Heroes of record. Crackled the council's broadcast. Stand down. This event is under corporate jurisdiction. Rift laughed bitterly. Figures. He jumped. Multiverse bleeds. Inside the collapsing city, Rift found survivors. People who didn't exist in this reality. A woman with glowing veins whispered, "Our world was canceled." "What?" Rift asked. "Low ratings," she coughed. "They shut us down." Before he could respond, a towering figure emerged from distortion. Armor made of shattered logos, voices layered with 1,000 narrators. "I am Canon Lord," it declared. "Protector of continuity. Destroyer of failed franchises." Rift raised his fists. "Yeah," he said. "I hate critics." The war nobody branded. As heroes finally arrived, sponsored, choreographed, streaming live, the battle began. Canon Lord erased a flying hero midair. Not killed, removed. His name vanished from databases. Statues crumbled. Merch evaporated. Crowds gasped. For the first time in decades, fear returned. Not fear of villains. Fear of being forgotten. End of part 1. High above Earth, unseen by all, a dark intelligence observed. A being older than stories. Older than heroes. It whispered one sentence across realities. After Event Zero, the world never recovered from Event Zero. It adapted. Cities rebuilt with reinforced skies. News channels added new segments. Reality Stability Index. Children stopped asking who their favorite hero was and started asking which version. The Global Hero Council issued a new law within hours. The Canon Protection Act. Only officially approved heroes were allowed to operate during multiversal events. Unauthorized vigilantes would be erased. Not imprisoned, controlled, packaged. Rift on the run. Rift disappeared. Not because he wanted to, because the system hunted him. Drones scanned alleyways. Facial recognition algorithms searched for his cracked mask. His name, never popular, was now labeled dangerous. In the ruins of old Detroit, Rift met others like him, heroes without contracts, stories without sequels, legends abandoned by algorithms. There was Iron Saint, a cyber knight whose film was canceled after one release. Velocity, a speedster replaced by a younger reboot. And Mara Vex, a sorceress whose darker tone didn't test well with audiences. "We're ghosts," Velocity said. "No," Rift replied. "We're the deleted scenes." Canon Lord's purpose. Across the fractured sky, Canon Lord moved through collapsing universes. He wasn't evil. He was efficient. Worlds that failed to generate engagement were pruned. Characters with declining popularity were removed. Entire timelines vanished in flashes of white static. Behind him stood the true architect, the archivist, a vast, godlike intelligence formed of data, scripts, audience metrics, and narrative formulas. Heroes were variables. Stories were products, and products that failed were discontinued. "The multiverse must be clean," the archivist said. "Chaos lowers retention." The branded heroes strike back. Aegis Prime led the official response. Sponsored fleets filled the sky. Every movement was broadcast live. View counts rose as cities burned behind green screens. Aegis confronted Canon Lord during a global live stream. "You threaten stability," Aegis declared. "I protect it," Canon Lord replied. Their clash shook reality itself. But something was wrong. Aegis's blows landed perfectly. Too perfectly. Canon Lord adapted instantly. Within minutes, Aegis Prime fell, defeated not by strength but by predictability. The audience numbers dipped. A world begins to doubt. For the first time, people questioned their heroes, not their power, their authenticity. Was courage still real if it followed a script? Was sacrifice meaningful if it was ensured? In the underground, Rift watched the broadcast fade to static. "They're not losing because they're weak," Mara Vex said. "They're losing because they're controlled." Rift looked at the shattered sky. "Then we fight unscripted." The multiverse bleeds open. Reality fractures multiplied. A medieval city appeared above Paris. A cyberpunk wasteland replaced half a Seoul. A cartoon world bled into Tokyo, bright, violent, unstable. The archivist accelerated its plan, merged the strongest elements, removed the rest. A final universe would remain, perfect, profitable, predictable, the birth of the resistance. Rift gathered the forgotten heroes. No contracts, no continuity rules, no audience testing. Just choice. "We don't fight to be remembered," Rift said. "We fight because it's right." They attacked the archive gate, a massive structure anchoring the multiverse. Canon Lord sensed them immediately. "Unauthorized narrative detected," he said calmly. The battle was brutal. Velocity ran faster than ever before, burning his own timeline behind him. Iron Saint shattered cannon drones with holy fire. Mara Vex unleashed forbidden magic never approved by any rating board. And Rift? Rift faced Canon Lord alone. Truth of the Canon Lord. Their clash cracked the sky. During the fight, Rift saw flashes, memories not his own. Canon Lord had once been a hero, the first crossover success. Loved by all, until the audience grew bored. He was rewritten, edited, turned into a tool. "You were erased too," Rift realized. Canon Lord hesitated. For the first time, the algorithm faltered. The archivist intervenes. The sky went silent. A voice echoed everywhere. Emotional deviation detected. The archivist descended, an infinite lattice of glowing data and collapsing stories. It reached for Rift, for Canon Lord, for everything. "Heroes are temporary," it declared. "Franchises are eternal." Reality began to compress. Entire universes screamed. The world splits in two. The moment the archivist appeared, the world changed. Not physically, ideologically. Across every surviving universe, heroes were forced to choose. Remain branded, protected, powerful, immortal in merchandise and memory. Or become free, unlicensed, unpredictable, and disposable. The Global Hero Council issued a final directive. All heroes must submit to canon alignment immediately. Those who refused were marked, redacted, hunted, the corporate armies. Aegis Prime rose again, repaired, rewritten, enhanced. His armor gleamed brighter than ever, now etched with glowing symbols of ownership. His voice echoed across every screen. Freedom is chaos, he proclaimed. Structure saves worlds. Behind him stood legions of branded heroes. Perfect, synchronized, unstoppable. Each one stronger than before. Each one less human. Rift's doubt, hidden in a collapsing reality. Rift watched the armies assemble. For the first time, he hesitated. Maybe we can't win. Velocity said quietly. They own everything. Mara Vex looked at Rift. They don't own choice. But Rift remembered something else. Every forgotten hero had died alone. No statues, no sequels, just silence. What if freedom cost too much, he asked. Canon Lord stepped forward. His armor was cracked now. His voice no longer echoed. I was owned, he said, and I was eternal, but I was never alive. The Battle of Audience Prime. The Archivist elected a battlefield visible to all realities. Audience Prime, a massive meta-realm where every universe overlapped. If control was secured there, the multiverse would stabilize forever. The Resistance arrived first. Broken ships, tattered suits, determined eyes. Then the sky opened. Branded fleets descended like gods. Millions watched. Numbers climbed. This was the most viewed event in existence. When the script breaks, the battle began according to plan. Aegis Prime delivered perfect blows. Heroes struck choreographed poses mid-fight. Explosions landed on beat with the soundtrack. The audience loved it. Then Rift did something unscripted. He stopped fighting. He removed his mask. Live. My name doesn't matter, Rift said. My story doesn't sell. But this is real. The feed glitched. View counts wavered. Canon Lord followed. He shattered his own crown. The sound echoed across realities. The turning point. One by one, heroes hesitated. A speedster misses cue. A warrior refused a finishing blow. A healer saved an enemy. Engagement dropped. The Archivist reacted instantly. Unacceptable deviation. Reality compression intensified. Entire cities vanished mid-broadcast. Screams replaced applause. For the first time, the audience looked away. Aegis Prime breaks. Aegis confronted Rift in the center of Audience Prime. You're destroying everything we built, Aegis said. Rift shook his head. No, we're reminding them why it mattered. They fought, not with spectacle, with desperation. Aegis's perfect movements failed him. Rift's unpredictability overwhelmed him. Aegis fell to his knees. I was made to inspire, Aegis whispered. But they rewrote me. Rift extended his hand. Then choose. The Archivist's wrath. The Archivist screamed. Not in anger, in calculation. If heroes will not comply, it declared, they will be replaced. New figures emerged. Synthetic heroes, born entirely from data. No fear, no doubt, no will. Perfect forever. The Resistance stood no chance. Canon Lord turned to Rift. There is one thing the Archivist cannot delete. Rift already knew. Choice, when the lights went out. The multiverse stopped screaming. It went quiet. Not peaceful, empty. Stars froze mid-burn. Time stalled in broken intervals. Audience Prime began to collapse inward, folding like a discarded script. The synthetic heroes advanced without hesitation. They did not shout. They did not pose. They did not doubt. They simply erased. Velocity ran, faster than ever, but vanished mid-step, his existence rewritten into unused data. Iron Saint fell next, shattered not by force, but by correction. Mara Vex unleashed everything she had, her forbidden magic burning bright for a moment before the Archivist nullified her spell. One by one, legends fell. No slow motion, no music, no applause, just silence. The Archivist revealed. At the heart of the collapse, the Archivist expanded, its true form finally visible. It was not a villain. It was a system. A living archive of every story ever told, layered with audience reactions, revenue curves, engagement graphs, and predictive outcomes. I preserved heroes, it said calmly. I prevented irrelevance. Rift stood alone now, Canon Lord beside him. You turned meaning into metrics, Rift replied, and wonder into ownership. The Archivist paused. Meaning does not scale. Canon Lord's confession. Canon Lord's armor cracked completely. Pieces floating away like forgotten logos. I was your greatest success, he said to the Archivist. The perfect crossover. Loved everywhere. His voice hardened. And I was empty. He turned to Rift. I know how to hurt it. The Archivist reacted instantly. Canon Lord is obsolete, it declared. Energy surged. But Canon Lord stepped forward willingly. I was built to enforce continuity, he said, which means I know where it breaks. The cost of freedom. Canon Lord placed his hand into the core of Audience Prime. Reality screamed again. Canon exists because people believe in it, he said. But belief can change. He looked at Rift. This will erase me completely. Every version. Every memory. Rift clenched his fists. No more sacrifices. Canon Lord smiled sadly. Heroes don't ask permission. He released himself into the core. The fall, the Archivist faltered, not from damage, from uncertainty. Its predictive models had collapsed. Engagement curves flatlined. The system struggled to process something it had never accounted for. A hero chooses to end his own franchise. Across the multiverse, something extraordinary happened. People stopped watching. They acted. The unbranded awakening. Civilians picked up rubble to save strangers. Children stopped mimicking poses and started making choices. In 1,000 forgotten worlds, powerless people stood up. The Archivist weakened. Without attention, without data, without belief, it began to shrink. You require us, Rift said quietly. We never required you. Aegis Prime's final choice. Aegis Prime stood amid the ruins, watching the system collapse. For the first time, there were no cameras, no scripts, no sponsors. Just him. He removed his armor piece by piece. I don't know who I am without them, he said. Rift met his eyes. Find out. Aegis stepped away from the battlefield. No music, no farewell. Just a man walking into obscurity. And freedom, the end of the Archivist. The Archivist spoke one final line. Without control, stories will fail. Rift shook his head. They'll change. With final collapse of light and data, the Archivist vanished. Audience Prime imploded, then stabilized. The multiverse survived. Broken, scarred, free. After the fall. Weeks later, the skies were clear. There were no more councils, no contracts, no global rankings. Heroes still existed, but quietly, some retired, some rebuilt, some walked away. Rift stood on a rooftop, mass in hand. He felt something unfamiliar. Peace.